Insulting someone is not a form of taking accountability. Consistently belittling someone is not a form of accountability. To me, accountability has almost always been the proof that you have changed. Usually this requires you to acknowledge some form of wrongdoing, and accountability is that progress. It seems like in the online world, a lot of people seem to believe that accountability means that you got to stand up on Twitter and take your lashes for the day. You got to be insulted, berated, and belittled across any conversation. I wanted to touch on some recent examples that I really do feel like are a little bit disingenuous and don't exactly meet that criteria. So let's talk about the Amazing Digital Circus. The Amazing Digital Circus recently is about to premiere their 9th and final episode, and it leaked. It's been posted everywhere. And all this is because of the frustrations of the community for a variety of reasons. And this all kickstarted from the reveal that the final episode would be appearing in theaters with a 2-week gap between the theatrical release and the YouTube/Netflix release. And this caused a wave of frustration that led to fans digging up old live streams between Michael Kovac and other cast members on the show with Gooseworks in chat. And on this stream that was pulled up, they all were engaging and saying nigga, completely and fully aware that they were trying and implying to be saying nigga, and it was wrong of them. Michael Kovac came out and apologized for it and took full accountability for his actions that he committed. He acknowledged that they were wrong, and he has been dedicated on making sure that he does not repeat those mistakes and making sure that that language, that tone, the way that he was speaking in those live streams have not been repeated in any capacity. And to me, this looks like the most standard case of taking accountability, apologizing genuinely, and moving forward beyond that point. Again, you don't have to accept his apology, and there is a greater conversation about why did he feel like it was comfortable to say that, because keep in mind, Michael was 23 when this incident occurred. In that same time period, we had iDubbbz running rampant who fully believed and gave people the idea that it was perfectly okay to drop the hard R and to say nigga just because it was funny. Let's be honest, and as a black person who grew up during that time period, it was incredibly hard, frustrating, and annoying. And the way that I developed and the way that I interpreted things and how I've decided to move forward is I'm placing a greater emphasis on trying to make sure that that error is not repeated, that people don't feel the same way that they should feel welcome and safe to be able to say slurs from groups that they aren't a part of, straight up. What Michael did is wrong. However, with Michael, I'm willing to accept his apology, as I have seen, at least from the outside looking in, a genuine path to becoming a whole lot better at moving in online spaces and fandom spaces. And while I could be wrong and there could be a clip or two that exists, I'm going to fully believe that Michael, it was dead ass serious about not being the same person he was 7 years ago. Yes, it was wrong, and it contributed to an environment where black people tended to become the butt of every joke for simply existing, and that is awful. However, at least in my personal opinion and the way that I choose to handle things and move forward, is I'm placing a greater emphasis on making sure that that past is not repeated, making sure that the youth growing up, the non-black youth, don't feel like it's okay for them to go around and say nigga based off what Michael Kovac was doing. And yes, this led to a whole incident occurring at my convention in my hometown where Plain Rock, an old fall off YouTuber, decided to take advantage of the situation for some momentary clout. He was not a fan. He was someone who saw some bullshit going on and decided to involve himself. Y'all know that gif from The Boys' most recent episode where Father and Homelander were looking at each other? That's basically Plain Rock walking into the situation. However, in response to that, Glitch made a statement and was like, yo, this racism shit not cool. Goose said racist people should kill themselves. However, Goose, you was in the chat damn near doing the same thing as Michael Kovac and refused to acknowledge that in any capacity. So am I still shocked and surprised that people are still upset at the way Gooseworks has operated, considering that they have been a pretty edgelord on Twitter? I'm not in any capacity. However, does that mean that we have to go down the timeline of people disrespecting the work that the other people have put in? Because whether you like it or not, making a show requires a team effort. There's animators involved, outside of the voice actors, there's animators, compositors, storyboard artists, all of that. All of that work and other efforts put in to that project, it gets leaked and you consume the leak, and then you turn around and you say you love and you want to support the indie animation scene, but you go on and you support the leak of the Amazing Digital Circus final episode because you're mad at Goose. Like, you realize how ass backwards that sound. And do I believe Glitch's whole model about how this is gonna open up new doors in indie animation? Oh, absolutely fucking not. But that's not the point of the conversation. I'm not watching that shit the same way I didn't watch the Avatar movie leaked. I'm gonna wait for that shit to come out. Because I'm going to try and support the people who make the shit I like. Because if I don't, there's a chance that we might not ever see shit like that again, because animation as a whole is so hard to produce. It is produced at a loss. The reason why a lot of your favorite shows growing up were probably canceled was because they couldn't fucking sell merch. You know why mangas get axed? I hate to break it to you, but a lot of times the anime is a promotion for the manga, because it's hard to get direct sales out of anime outside of figures and Blu-ray. So the closest thing, the best thing y'all got is making the manga sell well because of how successful the anime is doing. So with all that in mind, I try to support the things I like. And again, if you do feel like what Goose has done is wrong, that is perfectly okay. But the path to criticism, to slander, is too slippery for y'all, because that does not make it okay for you to go around and portray Gooseworks and the rest of Glitch Productions as the Ku Klux Klan hideout. Y'all not realize how ridiculous that sounds? Do y'all not realize how it makes your point sound fucking dumb? And this isn't me doing some type of form of respectability politics, because truthfully, I believe in this specific scenario, it's not black people who are doing this shit. It's mostly people parading around and saying, I got the black people to agree with me, and I'm gonna fight the battle on their behalf. Again, this shit is ridiculous, and you can have your issues and problems with the show just like I do, because I don't like that show that much. I'm still gonna watch this shit in theaters, mostly as an excuse for me and my niggas to hang around, but like, still, why do you continue to engage and support and consume their work if you find it so problematic and not worth your time? A lot of y'all need to learn how to be unbothered to go about your day, but I guess that is too hard of a concept to grasp. So am I shocked Gooseworks is still getting blitzed to this day? No, not at all, but it also comes at a cost that people are no longer wanting that accountability to happen. Again, accountability can only be shown through change and moving forward. A lot of people keep framing it as that, but in reality, they want to play the role as the insulter, the police officer, it's so wild of a concept. I'm going to play y'all a clip from FD Signifier talking about Kanye and accountability, and while it may not be entirely applicable, I do think he does a general better job at explaining the concept that I'm trying to get across.
And I'm so tired of not just creators, but fan bases who operate in this really dumb, lowbrow, make-believe fantasy world where having the sickest own on somebody in the public square that is social media means that accountability has happened. That ironically is showing the very non-progressive tendencies of many in our audience. It's very much influenced by the Western tradition of carcerality that many of you don't realize that you strongly identify with, believe in, and often want to be the police. Accountability is not punishment, and online with these platforms, punishment is barely real, especially if you're a big enough figure. Instead, accountability is restitution and change, and a lot of y'all don't be wanting that shit. You just want to drag, but I digress. Accountability doesn't guarantee that everyone you've hurt is required to forgive and accept you back. Accountability doesn't mean that you get your spot back in the culture or the industry or wherever you were before you did the transgression that got you removed. It doesn't mean that people can't ever speak on what you did again. And while I find takedown videos and drags online entertaining at times, I know they don't count as accountability, and I need y'all to understand that as well, because if we understood that, Kanye would be doing something different than what he's doing. Well, he probably wouldn't.
But yeah, the point that I'm making is a lot of y'all just don't want accountability. Y'all want to be the person in charge. Y'all want to be the executioner, the judge, and the jury, and get your jokes off and feel like you on cloud nine because you saw your Twitter likes go up, your TikTok likes and whatever. But that's not the only situation I want to touch on. And Gachiakata has somehow turned into probably the worst fan base I've seen in a hot ass minute. And the way that they continue to engage with their mangaka, the creator of Gachiakata, but how they consistently choose to disrespect and just be general assholes to them. And again, I'm gonna be honest, most of that shit is not valid, but at least the most recent incident was a person who makes low budget cosplays put some leaks in their hair and was trying to mimic Jabber's dance from one of the episodes of the anime. Kay saw it, thought it was cute, and posted it to her story. And people pointed out, hey, that's weird. You know, that the usage of the leaks in the hair can be seen as disrespectful to black cultures. And so Kay apologized for it. And one thing that I want to highlight is Kay does not speak English. So a lot of their apologies, and apologies is crazy, even if it is true, but a lot of the statements that they make are Japanese ran through a translator. And one coming to that conclusion and being like, hey, this is okay to share. But that turned into people saying that she's a part of the Ku Klux Klan. That turned into people saying that she's some omega level racist. When in reality, at best, she is an ignorant person who don't live in America. And that's not me trying to defend and say everything that she has done is okay, because Kay has probably some of the best depictions of black people in anime. I love Chorus's design, I love Semu's design, and I love that they aren't just caricatures, you know, of how black people act. No, they're shown love and support in the work. And while sometimes that doesn't always translate to being shown that same support, especially in the conversation that surrounds the stage play, where the production company told Kay after being asked, hey, could you get some African-American actors to portray these characters? They were told, niggas don't exist in Japan. And Kay was like, well, I'm unfamiliar with the process, so there's not really much more I can do beyond that point. And again, you could be upset at that. Hell, I'm upset at that to a lesser extent, because I'm gonna be real with you, I don't think I ever sat down and watched any stage plays besides the Persona ones. But again, it sucks, and I'm going to acknowledge that there is a possibility, because with how rights are maintained through Shonen Jump and other publication materials, is that a lot of times the mangaka, the creator, does not hold the full rights to be able to veto and deny some things. Sometimes that shit goes to the publisher, and the publisher's like, hey, we might give you a little bit of a say, but at the end of the day, this is ultimately our decision. It sucks and it's unfortunate. However, I'm not going to disregard the effort and appreciation that she has shown by incorporating those black and African American themes and concepts into her work. Again, you can give criticism, but a lot of the time y'all are not giving criticism. Y'all are masquerading as internet bullies, saying that you want people to be accountable for their actions, when in reality, you just want to dunk on them. You want to be the guy who gets to beat everyone and put everyone into their place. And it's just so fucking dumb, because you're not realizing you're defeating your own point, especially when you're saying, well, fuck her, I'm going to pirate her work, I'm going to consistently talk and still be a fan, even though the accusation that you're making is that the artist's bigotry and bad world ideals are present within the work that they create, meaning that you can't separate the art from the artist. So why do you then continue to consume the art? Do you not realize how ass backwards this whole thing sounds? And it's just so frustrating on so many levels, how it feels like people overly are looking for a reason to be mad, angry, and upset at situations where it is not needed. Again, if you say that your efforts are placed on education, stick to it. Don't then turn around and start supporting people who are going above and beyond and trying to paint narratives and portray people as slanderous creatures as part of the fucking S. And if you know what the SS is, it's ridiculous. And I'm using both of those as examples, even if they aren't entirely applicable, you know, due to the background context that surrounded both of them. It still goes to show my greater point about how accountability isn't something that can be easily determined or achieved through online spaces. It requires some offline learning and some offline personal work, and that is not something that is instantaneous. It takes time. And yes, you can be upset, you can critique things, but again, it hits a point where you're not critiquing shit, you're just looking to be a mean asshole on the internet, getting your internet points for the day. And especially with Gachiakina, because it seems like every 2 weeks I gotta bear witness to some of the dumbest shit ever, from people shipping characters and constantly harassing the artists and everyone involved on the team about the status of their ship, to people going above and beyond and making headcanons and trying to apply the authors and guess the author's sexuality and other personal details. It just goes above and beyond. And at that point, I'm not shocked that she hit a breaking point and started blocking niggas. The block button is free. And then people go around and parade the fact that they got blocked. You know how much of a fucking loser you gotta be to be happy you got blocked by someone's work that you willingly consume? In fact, you're doing all this talking about how much you hate her. Nigga, the chapter drop next Tuesday. We gonna see you right then and there. The fuck? But, I mean, yeah, that's just my 2 cents on the whole thing. I'm just very frustrated at how it seems like nuance and conversations are not being had. It just seems like everyone wants to be right, and there is no willingness to put yourself out there and be vulnerable and engage in these conversations. It's not. I don't know, but white people and non-black people, shut the fuck up, bro. Stop fucking talking for me. I'm just gonna start slapping y'all uncontrollably, bro. I'm so sick and tired of this shit.
Artificial intelligence.